Supporting the knowledge manager, the importance of a mentor, and good reference material. In this podcast, Tom Young of Knoco.com talks with Paul Whiffen, a knowledge manager of 12 years experience, and discusses support for the knowledge manager. A transcript of this conversation is available for download from the download section of the Knoco website, www.knoco.com.
Paul, in your role as a knowledge manager, what sort of support have you sought and used?
What I have found that has worked extremely well over the years is to have an external mentor, external to the organisation. I mean, let's be honest, implementing fully strategic, transformational knowledge management across an organisation, it's not easy. It's a difficult job. There's all sorts of challenges, there's all sorts of very high highs and very low lows. And it's very good to have an external mentor who will give you the time, who will listen well, enable you to talk things through and give you that sort of perspective from outside the organisation, if you like. I think that the mentor needs to have several qualities. One is be a really patient listener, just to listen. They may well have some good technical advice, and that's critical too, but I think, the first thing is just to listen while you sort of just play things back. Even the very act of doing that helps resolve some things in your mind. It's also fairly critical that they have good and strong implementation, knowledge management experience in their own right. So as and when you start to ask for advice, they're able to say, look, actually I've seen this, or I've done that, or actually that's happened to me, I tried this, and actually I thought it was a good idea, it didn't work, but I tried this other thing and it did work. So actually it becomes very much a two-way thing, I think. So it's not just technical knowledge management tricks of the trade, if you like, but there's also political insights about, that kind of system is trickier in that kind of environment. It's a very technical environment or a very political environment, talking through the issues politically. Because after all, I think, often at times, implementing KM, it's a bit like playing a chess game. You've got to stand back and say, well, what's my strategy? Which do I need to move where and when? I find myself doing that a lot through stakeholder analysis, thinking through all the politics, and the mentor can help think that through. In fact, I would say it's more like 3D chess that you see sometimes on Star Trek. In applying knowledge management, I found that both the Knoco books written by both Tom and Nick, I have those in my briefcase at all times. I'm constantly referring to them for little tips and phrases to make sure I don't get complacent, make sure I've thought things through. Typical example, what are the top critical success factors for launching and maintaining a community? Nick's book on knowledge management for teams and projects outlines that with very clear views on why. All this stuff is extremely valuable knowledge to have with you in your briefcase to look up at any time. So I think in terms of support, those two areas are critical. An external mentor and those books are very valuable to have. That combination of factors makes for a much more likely to succeed situation.
More information on the topics contained in this podcast can be found at the Knoco website. That's www.knoco.com.